Alright, so I have a fruit roll-up that I have unwrapped so that it is a nice flat sheet, and I have a piece of a Rice Krispies treat that I cut off of this bigger one. You can also make your own Rice Krispies treats at home, and you just want to form them into little logs. It doesn't have to be square, but you want to form them into little logs that are about the size of 2 fingers. So what I'm going to do is put my Rice Krispies piece onto my fruit roll-up, and then peeling the fruit roll-up off of its backing, I am going to wrap the entire thing. So now I have my wrapped Rice Krispies, and I will cut it in half, and then cut it in half again. And depending on what size you make your Rice Krispies piece, you may want to do thirds or another fraction. And I am using the plastic wrap from my fruit roll-up as a little non-stick mat. Now, fruit roll-ups are very sticky and they don't want to come apart. Oh, there we go. So ripping it did seem to help a little bit. And now that I have my seaweed wrapped rice, I'm just going to top each one with a little fish. I found these cool fish gummy mixes at the Dollar Tree, but you can also use Swedish fish. Start with one of your Twinkies and one of your fruit roll-ups or fruit by the foots. Now you can see that this is just about the same length as the Twinkie. If you were using fruit by the foot, you would be able to get 4 lengths of the fruit by the foot around the Twinkie. So peeling off the plastic backing and wrapping your Twinkie in your fruit roll-up until you've gone all the way around at least once. So my fruit roll-up did in fact stick to itself a little bit, so I'm just gonna squish my Twinkie a little until I can get the ends to meet. And cut your Twinkie into quarters. So you can cut it in half. And try not to let it squish. This might work a little bit better if you put everything in the refrigerator for a little bit before you try and work with it. And top each Twinkie quarter with a gummy fish. And there is your Twinkie sushi. So I have just a regular plastic Chinese takeout container that I am going to pretend is a bento box. And I am putting all of my little sushi rolls right in there. So now I have room for my sandwich sushi. To make sashimi, or what I've been told is sashimi, you take one little donut or tiny little powdered sugar donut and cut it in half, so that you have 2 little pieces that will stand up on your plate. Then for each half, you take a little gummy fish and a strip of fruit by the foot or fruit roll-up, and you wrap your gummy fish onto your donut piece. So now you have a sashimi. Now we're going to start on the savory dishes. So I have a plain piece of cheap white bread, and I am just going to take all of the crust off, so just the brown bits on the edges. And you can eat these if you want. I've been told that they will make your hair curl. You're just going to kind of not squish it into the plate, but squish it a little bit flat. And you want to make sure that it stays in a square. Now I got some pizza sauce, and I'm just putting a small spoonful on my bread. Alright, that's all that I need. Some shredded cheese. Really it should be mozzarella, but I had cheddar, so that's what I'm using. And I've made pizza with cheddar before. It's really good. So I'm going to spread my cheese onto my bread. Add a few pepperonis. And then you'll notice I kept all the pepperonis on one side. I'm now going to roll until I get a nice cylinder and kind of try and squish the bread to itself as best you can. This is why it helps to get cheap bread as opposed to like the really good bread, because the cheap bread you can do more stuff with. Take your knife and carefully cut I'm cutting this into thirds because it's a fairly small piece of bread. Oops, stick, would ya? There we go. And you can see that, sometimes you do have to fix things up a little. So I'm just putting them in here where I had all of my dessert sushi, and I'm using the fruit roll-up wrapper as a divider. So you can see that looks pretty good. Alright, so I have prepared another piece of white bread. Then the filling I'm going to use for this sushi roll is tuna fish. And for anyone who can see it on camera and is wondering what the green is, I put pickle relish in my tuna. It is amazing. So I am going to put just a very little bit of tuna right on the edge of my bread. And in fact, this piece is so small, I could probably just do it down the middle and squish them together this way, instead of having to roll. But it really is just a matter of doing that. And then again, I'm going to carefully cut into thirds. And you could also use tortillas or some other form of wrap, right? So now I have my bento box, and I'm going to put my tuna fish sushi right in my bento box. Alright, so I have a piece of bread that is prepared with some peanut butter. You could also use almond butter, cashew butter, sunflower butter, whatever your preferred non-peanut butter is. And then I have a couple of, this particular cut is called julienne. It's not a particularly well done julienne, but that's what it is. I've just cut up a Granny Smith apple, and I am going to put just a few of these along one edge and roll up my bread. Now this one has the added benefit of having the peanut butter, so hopefully that will keep it a little bit more in place. Alright, so now that we've got our nice, well, semi-nice roll, make our cuts, and we have our peanut butter and apple sushi. You could also use strawberries, you could use blueberries, raspberries, any fresh fruit you want, or even just do a traditional PB&J and use jam or jelly. Alright. So I have one more recipe to show you, but you can see that I have a very nice little picnic right here in my bento box. I have my sandwiches and I have my dessert. Heck, I have enough dessert to share. Alright, for my last roll, I have some nice fresh cooked chicken fingers. So I am going to just cut these into thin little strips, like so. And I am making two sushi rolls this time. I'm using 2 pieces of bread because I have enough chicken for both. Take some barbecue sauce. I'm using sweet brown sugar sauce. It doesn't have to be. This is not an ad for Kraft. This is just what I found. And I'm going to put just a little bit of sauce on each bread. And spread that around so that it covers my entire bread piece. Put my chicken slices on my bread. And make my roll. And this is another case where I can put it kind of more towards the middle and then move the bread up around it. And there I have my barbecue chicken sushi roll.